There are places in Sylvestria where the light behaves strangely, and at times seems to slow its step, as if the very air grows thoughtful. In such places, the old stories are not truly past. They linger like breath on a cold window, patient and persistent, waiting for someone to remember them. These tales are offered as both guidance and caution, for the land itself has a long memory and does not easily forget what has transpired upon it. Join us now for the tale of the hands of Purgatory Slough. They say that on certain nights, when the cicadas fall silent and the fog creeps low across the reeds, the hands rise from the waters of Purgatory Slough. No bodies follow them, only the long pale fingers that grope and curl through the mist like the roots of the dead. Some claim the hands seek warmth, others insist they hunger for souls, but the elders of Sylvestria whisper that they belong to the witch of the slough, who once called those waters home and who never truly left them. Long ago, before Sylvestria had borders or roads or even a name that all its people agreed upon, there stood a shack hidden deep in the marsh. The woman who lived there was known only as La Llorosa. Her hair was said to be black as the night sky itself, and her eyes glowed like twin embers that never dimmed. She brewed tinctures that cured fevers and brewed others that could unmake a man. The people feared her, yet they came all the same, for fear does not outweigh desperation. They brought silver, herbs, or whispered secrets in exchange for her craft. Some left her shack relieved, others left trembling, all left changed. When the Spanish soldiers came marching through those parts some centuries ago, driven by orders and ambition, they heard tales of a woman who whispered to spirits and turned storms away from her roof. The captain, a zealous and proud man, swore that her wicked practice would not see another dawn. He believed he was protecting the settlers of this new land. His men were simply following orders. Yet none of them understood the place they had entered or the horror they would create. The soldiers came at night with torches and muskets. The marsh swallowed the sound of their boots, but the glow of their flames betrayed them. La Llorosa fled into the fog as her shack burned behind her, the smoke staining the sky a deep and angry red. But she did not escape. Whether she tripped upon a root or was pulled to her fate by her own misdeeds, no one knows. Some say the marsh itself rose to claim her, yet the waters closed over her and she was gone. With the light of morning, the soldiers found only the smoldering ruins of her humble homestead and bright purple lilies blooming in the marsh near where the footprints ended. The blossoms were unlike anything the men had seen before. Their petals shimmered faintly, as if touched by moonlight even under the sun. The soldiers did not linger. They believed their task complete. But that evening, as they made camp by the banks of the old marsh, the first of the hands rose through the black waters. It was said that the beautiful purple lilies twisted and lengthened, their stems stretching into pale wrists, their petals peeling back into fingers. The hands glistened with mud and water, reaching toward the men until fear made them flee into the night. Since that time, the curse has lingered in the marsh. It grips the living as La Llorosa once gripped her magic, drawing any who wander too near into her cold grasp. Centuries later, when the land had been claimed by the Sylvestrians and the marsh was little more than a quiet borderland, a surveyor named Elias was sent to mark the line that cut across the old slough. He was a cautious man by nature, careful with his steps and deliberate with his work. The fog that morning was thin, and the steady drone of the cicadas gave him comfort as he trudged through the muck with his notebook and compass. He thought little of the stories the locals had told him. Every region had its legends, and he had heard more than his share since he arrived in Tel Kappa. Then the sound changed. The cicadas stopped. It was sudden and absolute. The silence pressed against him, heavy and watchful, as if the marsh itself were holding its breath. Elias felt the hairs on his arms rise. The fog thickened around his knees, then his waist. He took one more step and felt something seize his boot. It was cold, impossibly cold. He looked down to see a pale hand gripping his ankle, the fingers slick with mud but solid as roots. Before he could cry out, another shot up beside it, grasping for his leg. Then another. They came faster than he could count, pulling at his clothes, clawing at his skin. He struck at them with his walking stick, but they only tightened, dragging him inch by inch toward the sucking heart of the slough. "Heavens help me!" he gasped, grabbing for anything to hold. His hand caught a low-hanging branch, a slender limb from a sapling jutting from the bank. The wood was slick, and the hands below tugged with a strength that no living flesh should possess. His grip slipped once, then again. The mud beneath him shifted, and then his boots filled as water rose around his calves. He felt the cold creeping into his bones. Then came a sharp crack. A possum, startled from its perch above, had snapped a dead branch as it scrambled away into the trees. The sudden noise seemed to break the spell. The hands faltered, their grip loosening just enough for Elias to wrench himself free. He scrambled onto the bank, coughing up black water and trembling with an unceasing coldness. Behind him, the fog rippled, and the hands sank once more beneath the surface, leaving only widening circles and those purple lilies floating in the murk. When the cicadas began to sing again, he ran and did not stop until the marsh was far behind him. His boots were missing when he reached the nearest road. His notebook was smeared with mud. His compass needle spun in slow, confused circles. He did not look back. Elias never returned to Purgatory Slough. He marked the place on his map only as unfit ground, but he told the story in Sylvestria's 10-Point Tavern and in every other bar from the border to the coast, warning all who would listen. When the cicadas fall silent, keep to the high ground. When the fog crawls low, turn back, for it's true that the hands of that witch still wait in the purple lilies of Purgatory Slough, and mercy has long since drowned. And so, the Sylvestrians still whisper of the witch's grasp and of the luckless surveyor saved by a possum and a splintered branch. For in Sylvestria, even the smallest creature may play its part in turning the wheel of fate.